A surprising result. A pair of paintings by William Henry Hamilton Trude, British, 1848 to 1899. This dude spent like a year and a half painting a Victorian reaction gif. In elementary school, I hit this kid, cause he said I can't punch, and I broke his nose, and then my stepdad picked me up, and the officer was like, you have to say sorry, but then the kid was like, but she proved me wrong. She doesn't have to say sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, my best friend of many years. This is violently beautiful. Yo, can you take a pic of my waves for the gram? The side of New York hospitality the media don't want you to see. This new genre of commercials that's like slow piano music during these trying times. Big company wants to remind you that we love people and community and being part of people's communities, and we are all in this together, and our drive-thru is open, and if people in the community don't show up and buy our product, we are gonna start killing employees. Can't believe I have to stop making fun of homeschooled kids, cause we all homeschooled now. F's sake. How is this a problem? Now you can make fun of everyone. Vinny, get this guy a rum and coke and a seat at my table. I think if I were to die young, I would want to be killed by, like, a bear. Cause that's a respectable way to go, in my opinion. Nobody is going to say, oh, they would have survived if only they fought back, cause you can't fight a giant fucking predator. That's just a force nature. The circle of life. Also, your headstone could read, exit, pursued by a bear, and isn't that the dream? Big fan of this idea, because it also carries the implication that the bear continues to hunt me into the afterlife. Day 30 of quarantine. The water sliding down my arm while doing dishes is no longer annoying, but instead, sort of, tender. Do not F the sink. Today someone told me about how their sister used to work in a hospital that provided abortions. She said that she could hear the aborted babies that hadn't died yet crying in the trash cans. If there was ever a reason to be pro-life, this is it. Because no child should be thrown out with the trash. That person f'king lead to you. My cousin used to work in a hospital that provided abortions, and the walls were Dew's green slime. Fun fact. In my first year at college, I overheard a conversation in the student lounge where a girl was saying she was pro-life because she heard that abortions are done by pouring acid in the uterus and the fetus literally tries to run away. I tried really hard not to laugh. I heard abortions are performed by funneling in rabid wolverines into the uterus. It's true. My dad works for Abortendo. They also forgot to tell you the part about how the nurses have a basketball shootout with them and yell Kobe every time they get one in the trash. Abortions are performed by smaller highly trained babies who sneak inside, befriend the fetus, learn their secrets and fears, and then betray them. Thinks about very small frogs. Angrily wipes away tears. The other day, I was listening to a science podcast, and this researcher Lucy Cook was talking about how much she loves frogs. She went to the Amazon and met her favorite frog, the tiny original poison art frog. She became so overwhelmed holding this frog that she started to cry and went to wipe away her tears. If her crew hadn't shouted no, she would have rubbed poison all up in her eye and died because she loves this tiny frog so much. People who act like they are too mature for Pokemon Go honestly all sound like this drill tweet. Meanwhile, while you were gaming, I tasted 100 different wines in a cave behind a waterfall and cried into a shaman's arms. I have a friend who is dyslexic, and one time he said, I put the sexy into dyslexia, and he waited for like 30 seconds and just went, F. Percy Jackson. On a date. Me. It really blows my mind how so many languages and cultures coexist within this sock. JFK. Blows your what? Me. JFK. Say it. When you're trying to do online schoolwork at home, but you can't, because you're in a home environment and not a school environment, and the vibes are off and you're crying and shaking because the due date is coming up and you're just sitting there with unfinished work, even though the assignment is so easy, but it's so hard because you were born wrong and dark inside. I love the sheer seeming improbability of popular musicals. Plant eats people, and there's a weird dentist. We took an Italian opera and put in rock songs. Life of a founding father told through rap. Cats have a singing contest to win the right to die. Composers and playwrights do whatever they want, and it works. I'm mad that I know what each of these musicals are. The Pacific Ocean is wider than the moon. Anyway, how's your day going? Dip moon like cookie. Maximum Pacific Ocean depth equals 11 kilometers. Moon diameter equals 3400 kilometers. So yeah, no dip. I killed another houseplant because of executive dysfunction. Mundane. Evokes helplessness. Kind of a bummer. Plagued by demons as I am, my crops have withered yet again. Powerful imagery. Frames you as a gothic protagonist. Emphasizes that you are hounded by demons. How fucking cool are demons? Homestuck ruined my life. Matt, you big baby, you never even read Homestuck. You don't need to smoke cigarettes to suffer from secondhand smoking. As someone who was held hostage and forced to read Homestuck by an overzealous fan, I can tell you that you absolutely can suffer from Homestuck while never having read it yourself. A few years back, my dad and I went to this kitschy tourist trap in York called the York Dungeon that was basically a series of live-action horrible histories vignettes, and one of them was a crooked court where the judge would call guests up, ask where they were from, and read out their crimes before passing judgment. My dad got picked, and the judge asked where he was from, and when he said Texas, the judge immediately declared him guilty and sentenced him to death. I asked you to not talk about my time as a medieval judge. I will avenge my father, you vile Italian. Homeboy did not have to flex that hard in that third picture. The Kinomalato, Caravaggio, 1593. My favorite thing about this post is that someone saw those photos of that cat and went, ah yes, I know exactly which 15th century Baroque painting this reminds me of. I think we are out of ink. Have you tried turning it on and off again? I forgot about the quarantine and, for a moment, thought the joke was that SpongeBob and Patrick had passed away and Squidward was simultaneously silently mourning them while internally wishing he had treated them better while they were alive. Wow. Are you okay? Actually, when I was in 8th grade and obsessed with Twilight, my master plan as a Twilight vampire was to sit around in famous shipwrecks, like the super deep ones, where they can only send robots with cameras from their submarines, and when they sent one down, I'd be sitting there, pretending to drink out of an old teacup, you know, for the drama of it all, and the guys in the submarine would know what they saw. And that it was real footage, but who else would believe them? No one important. But it didn't stop there. At the next party, they threw to celebrate one of their latest finds, some museum-wide banquet I don't know. I was 13. I was going to show up and make eye contact with them one at a time from across the room, and they were going to lose their goddamn minds. And then before the Vulture could catch wind, I was gonna be back in the ocean. How could they find me? The drama. The theatrics. I can't believe I didn't realize I was gay right then, but that's another story, also involving vampires. Hate to burst your fantasy, but 1. Vampires don't show up in film. 2. Vampires can't cross moving water, much less sit at the bottom of the ocean. You've got me in a difficult position here, because on the one hand, this post is specifically about vampire lore in Twilight, so you're wrong, but on the other hand, saying you clearly didn't read Twilight doesn't exactly make you look like the bad guy here. What if Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis never switched back after Freaky Friday, and it's Jamie doing drugs and getting arrested, and Lindsay is just eating Activia? I love that the logic this post goes off of is that Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis actually switched bodies in order to film Freaky Friday. Well, yeah, haven't you seen the movie? For the Queen of England's 100th birthday, she hosted a worldwide baking competition to see who could make the best birthday cake for her. I decided to participate, despite having zero knowledge about baking cakes. After spending 3 days in my school's kitchen, I didn't use the kitchen at my home for some reason. The cake was done. It had 3 layers, each one made out of a different type of chocolate, with different things inside. Top layer, dark chocolate with blueberries. Middle layer, milk chocolate with hazelnuts. Bottom layer, white chocolate with raspberries. And a small unicorn statue, made out of white chocolate on top of the top layer. The judges came in and tasted my cake, and they said that it was one of the best ones yet. And then I woke up and never found out if I won or not. Suddenly, the idea of being an Olympic figure skater no longer seems out of reach. People who say milk instead of milk. I say milk. You know, milk is actually the Dutch word for milk. Are you really going to beat up all of Holland? Holland. I feel like you physically could not attack an orangutan. Like, if you tried, they would just look you in the eyes, and a wave of inhuman calmness would wash over you. Orangutan got him. Orangutan got him. Coming of age checklist. Get gay and or trans. Realize the music you listen to as a preteen is good, actually, and learn government propaganda. Think a lot about starting an LGBT subsistence-based commune with friends. Wanted to draw that Animal Crossing Easter bunny put on a cross, but I didn't have the skill or moral vileness. Don't worry, I do. Thanks. Accept my humble offering. What a holiday this is. You've both ruined and perfected Jesus Day 2. Electric Boogaloo. May I offer you a tiny frog in these troubled times? There is something about sunlight that makes life seem just a little less horrible. It's the vitamin D, B. I kinda find it hilarious that emotional intelligence and any other kind of intelligence aren't necessarily present in the same person. Like, someone can calmly, delicately, and with impeccable skill talk you down from the brink of despairing panic and gently reassure you that your boyfriend dumping you wasn't your fault, that you did the best you could with the information you had at hand, and it was very brave of you to try to help even when you didn't know how. You're not a bad person because you had bad luck. And then the same person gets their ass mangled by a revolving door because they didn't make the connection that the mechanical repetition it keeps doing would also keep doing when there's a human person standing right in front of it. Things you can do in the UK at 16 years of age. Get married with parental permission. Start a family. Join the army where they use guns and bombs and move out. Things you can't do in the UK at 16 years of age. Buy a pair of scissors. Are you serious? What? Dumbledore died at age 115. Horcrux is made. 0. Voldemort died at age 71. Horcrux is made. 7. Conclusion. Voldemort was the most useless magic dependent wizard that ever existed. He could have lived till like 200 if he just ate well and exercised, but no, he had to go and split up his soul and ruin perfectly good jewelry. Fking Dumbus. This sounds like it was written by Hermione Granger at 1 AM. He tried to use an advanced death magic spell to kill a baby. He literally doesn't know how to do anything without magic. Just drop it out a window, my dude. Babies are so delicate. And that was Ron.